Hello everyone, I am today with Andrea from the project Medieval Tales from Europe, a 5e project live on Kickstarter. Hello Andrea.
Yep. Hello.
I saw that
Thanks.
you had a 5e project on Kickstarter. Could
Yeah.
you tell me more?
Yes, sure. So the project is called Medieval Tales from Europe, and it's a new setting for 5th edition, set in the Middle Ages, from the fall of the Western Roman Empire till the conquest of America. So it's very broad as a time frame. It is now on Kickstarter. It's been funded. So I take the chance to say that. The project will be delivered, and anyone interested can come on the website and get the game. So now it's sure the game will be shipped. So this new fifth edition setting is focused on realism. That's the main thing. So there are only humans. So the main race is the human. There are no other race, so everything is human. There are 11 new classes, very characteristic from the Middle Ages. New cultural backgrounds and other things that you can also from the quick start. So as I say, the focus is the realism. This also means that the characters act following a very realistic logic. So they have to prepare before traveling, for example. They have to be very careful when they enter in combats. And it's also a low magic system. So the characters of this setting are common people. With very strong motivations. So what they want to do basically is survive. Not necessarily they are heroes. Sometimes they behave as heroes, but they start as very common people. There are many elements of realism in the game. For example, weapons they deal a lot of damage, not as in D&D, but like way more damage. Like 1 or 3 hits can kill someone because we wanted to align to the realism of combat. So let's say this game, this new setting is for those players that want a more focused, competitive game approach. Let's say it's like 5th edition with more suspense. And it's also important to say that this is not an expansion for D&D, but it's a game for itself. So it's a new setting that you use to create historical and medieval-like scenarios.
And are there any additional mechanics in your setting?
Yes, there are new mechanics that are different. We created new mechanics to accommodate a more realistic game, trying to change. Try to not change the 5th edition, but just changing the minimum to accommodate a more realistic game approach. There are 2 mechanics in particular that I like to discuss. First one is the notoriety. So each character has a value of notoriety. You start with the value of notoriety according to your class, and you can increase your notoriety through the level progression, but also not just through level progression, but also according to how you behave in the game. So what you do, and if other people see you while doing stuff. So you can be a very famous person and have a very high notoriety, so you can be recognized. But this is not always good, the game, because it depends on how you build up your notoriety. Imagine, for example, thieves or smugglers. They don't want to be recognized. They try to have a low profile. On the opposite, if you're a noble, for example, you start with a higher notoriety, and you can be recognized, that you can receive hospitality, for example. According to the class you play, the adventure you play, you want to have a high or low notoriety, and when you be careful on it. And notoriety also triggers some new class features, so it's very important as a mechanic. The second one is related to the combat, and it's called parry. So basically we introduce the new reactions, which is called parry, which is meant to used when you have to block an attack, when you block a blow which has been struck against you. And so basically you have this new reaction between the hit roll and the damage. So there is the hit roll, for example, from an enemy, you get hit, but then before damage you have this new checkpoint, which is called parry. So you use your reaction to neutralize the attack. So basically you roll and hit roll yourself, and if it's equal or higher the hit roll of your enemy, then you blocked it and you neutralize the attack. And you can parry in different ways. You can also parry with bare hands. It's not always useful, especially when you have been eaten by iron weapons and so on. But you can also parry with objects. In this case, you have a disadvantage on the hit roll you use for parry, or you can parry with weapons. For example, when you have a sword in the hand, you can use it to parry. And according to the weapons, some of them are very useful to do so. Others are completely useless according to the shape. And we included the very important historical details in this. And last, I would say the shields. They are the most important object you use to parry. And also, when you have a shield, you have advantage on the hit rolls you use to parry. So parry is very is used a lot during combat, and it really changed the game. It feels a lot still as a 5th edition. It really changed the game and make it more realistic, let's say.
And you speak a lot about history. What kind of story can you play with your setting?
Yeah, so medieval can sustain a multitude of historical, like Middle Ages-like scenarios, as I say. For example, you can play real historical events in your campaign. I remember now, 100 Years War, the Crusades, the Black Death, or even the Arab conquest, the Norseman expansion. You can create adventures within this real historical scenarios. But you can also play alternativist. You can play within these scenarios, but at the same time, you can make the story goes different for your players. Not always you have to follow the main course. You can also draw inspiration from literature. This is personally, this is the aspect that I like the most. For example, you can play adventures within the world of Robin Hood or King Arthur, or again Avalon and the Celtic myths. So everything that is literature, you can take inspiration. You can play it. It doesn't have to be history or real events. But also, you can also base your campaign on fiction. So you can invent yourself an adventure in your own context, your own scenario. It doesn't have to be linked to anything. So being a setting, this is important to mention, this is a setting, is not a game model. So it's a setting, so it's a starting point to create other adventures and other scenarios that you like.
As an author, you must be a fan of different kind of RPG. I would like to know, when did you start playing this kind of game?
Yeah, I've been playing different role-playing games. I started when I was very young. Probably I was 12 or 13. And I remember I started as a DM. I played probably 1 or 2 sessions, and then I decided, okay, I like being a DM, and I want to create my own adventure, and I want to be a DM. This is because I've always been a writer, in the sense that I've always been writing stuff, from novels to simple manuscript, probably very crap. But I loved it. And then when I found out, when I discovered the role-playing games, and I also found out that in the role-playing games, you do both things. You write, but then you can bring your friends the stories that you write. And this was very rewarding. So I could both write and play with my friends and show my manuscript to people. And I found it a very good way to bring people within my story. So it was love at the first sight.
Yeah, I understand that. And speaking of that, could you tell me some fun story that happened in one of your games?
Yeah. There are different stories. I remember them all. What is very nice is that I can still. I really like the fact that my friends still remember some of those. This I think give a huge contribution in creating the bond we have. No, me and my friends. I remember one very funny event. I was playing with this friend of mine, and as a player, he used to do a lot of this enchantment. I don't remember if it was 3.5 edition, 5th still. It's called rope trick. So you basically have this rope attached to an extra dimensional window as enchantment. So you open this extra dimensional window and you basically can store everything in it. And this player used to store within this window different objects from goals and values, weapons. But also I remember a dead body. Once he hid this dead body within this window. And then he forgot, I think, for a few sessions that he had this dead body there. And then in front of, I remember it was a noble or a king, he opened up this window because he wanted to show him some rare objects and goals. And suddenly this dead body splashed out from the window, directly from the floor in front of the king. And it was very fun because that friend of mine had forgotten about this dead body within the window, but I remembered it, also I took note, and that was very fun. And I think this kind of This kind of approach as a DM is very fun because then I think players feels that the world is real. I mean, even if you don't remember things, the things are there already and are ready to splash out from your window in the wrong time.
Oh, thank you for sharing this very cool story.
Yeah.
Would you have some advice for players who would like to start to be a DM?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very good question. As a DM, everyone that starts feels a bit insecure, I think. So what I can say is play your own way. What I mean is that when you start, you of course you want to follow advice, which is very good, but don't make them fool you that there is a right way or a wrong way of playing. This is today it's very easy to fall in this trap. Following podcasts, also very famous podcasts, you feel like, okay, this is the way I should lead the game. Well, that's simply not true. Especially at the beginning, play your own way. If you have house rules, you include them. If you don't feel comfortable with the mechanics on a rule and you feel to exclude it, do it. Play your own way and have fun. This is the most important thing at the beginning. Then with time you can improve. You can align yourself more to the rule set and better. But play your own way. Yeah, that's what I would say to newbies, DMs.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I will put a link in the description of this video, and I hope I see you around, and I wish you good luck on your Kickstarter.
Thank you very much for this interview. Thanks.